What's up, guys? It's your boy Ace, and today I'm finishing off the mock draft with picks 21 through 32. My apologies if I sound funny. I just got wisdom teeth removed, so my cheeks are puffy as hell, and I sound kind of stupid, but I got to finish this mock draft. Probably going to post another one between now and draft day because I'm sure picks are going to get traded. So I might do one like the week before the draft or something like that. But this is going to conclude the first mock draft. And I'm going to do it a little bit differently today. I'm going to just kind of post some Madden gameplay and post all the picks on the screen. And we're just going to talk about them. And I'm sure I'll get some disagreements, but I want to definitely hear your input in the comment section. So let me know what you guys think, and let's get this started. So at pick 21, I have the Bengals taking Mike McGlinchey, who is a really good tackle out of Notre Dame. His teammate is kind of stealing the headlines, Quentin Nelson, the guard. But Mike's a very solid player. I mean, he could be a tackle in this league for a long time, and I believe he contributes at right tackle immediately. Cordy Glenn is on the opposite side at left tackle, and he had kind of a down year, but I think he'll bounce back. There are other needs that the Bengals could address here, but I believe offensive line is the most pressing. At pick 22, I'm going to have the Bills taking cornerback Mike Hughes out of Central Florida, who is going to be a very solid contributor behind Tre'Davious White, who was a very good rookie last year. I think he was number 2 in overall grade on Pro Football Focus. So they definitely hit on a corner last year, and if they can get that second lockdown corner, they're going to be in really good shape in the secondary between Tre'Davious White, Hughes, and Micah Hyde, as well as Jordan Poyer. That would be a very solid secondary. And shout out to Kodak. He was bugging me yesterday. He wanted me to take Mike Hughes in the top 15. But I personally think Denzel Ward is going at 14, and he is the best corner in the draft. But Mike Hughes is definitely up there. So we have Mike Hughes at 22. At pick 23, I have the Rams selecting Leighton Vander Esch. And this guy has the coolest name in the draft. There's no debate about that. And this guy just looks like a football player. I mean, his neck is broader than my shoulders. It's absolutely ridiculous. And they have a hole there at linebacker with Ogletree now gone. I mean, he wasn't an amazing linebacker, but he was he was the captain of the defense, or one of the captains, and he was a very athletic player. And they do have a hole there at linebacker, so I think Leighton Vander Esch would be a great pick, and is going to solidify that defense as one of the top defenses in the league. And I could see him going to a few other teams here in the first round. like maybe the Pittsburgh Steelers if he falls down that low. New England Patriots if he falls down that low. I don't think he will. I think he can go here at the Rams because they don't have many other needs, especially not on defense. So at pick 24, I have the Carolina Panthers selecting Carlton Davis, cornerback out of Auburn. And this might be a slight reach. I realize this, guys, he could potentially slip into the second round. But I talked to a friend of mine who is a Panthers fan who watches way more than I do. Shout out to you, Brett. And he said their most pressing need is a physical corner. And I looked at their squad, and I do agree. I think Carlton Davis could definitely fit that mold. He told me they're more of a cover 2 team. He could definitely play cover 2 corner. I think he might be a better cover 3 corner. But, he's going to get in their faces, and he's going to be that guy who brings edge to the secondary. So Carlton Davis here. At pick 25, I have the Titans selecting Harold Landry, outside linebacker / defensive end out of Boston College. And I think he fits nicely into this scheme. I think he's going to play left outside, opposite of Arakpo. Then we have the interior presence in Jarrell Casey. So this kind of solidifies the front four here. And I don't see many other weaknesses on this team. I mean, this was a playoff team, so they have less weaknesses than top 10 teams. I see a hole at strong safety. Cyprian's not too good in coverage. I could see them replacing him, or I guess not really replacing. I'm sure he'd still be a contributor on the team. But have a more promising talent there at strong safety. But other than that, I really can't see them taking a wide receiver. If Calvin Ridley falls this far, I could see it. But there's not really any other first-round talent at wide receiver. They can get one in the second or third. The rest of the team is very solid. At pick 26, I have the Atlanta Falcons selecting Taven Bryan, defensive tackle out of Florida. This team doesn't have many weaknesses at all. They did have a really funky year after their Super Bowl, so they had a Super Bowl hangover here. But this team just has really good players at pretty much every position, except for defensive tackle number 2 behind Grady Jarrett. Vic Beasley did not have the year he had in 2016. I think he led the league in sacks in 2016, but he kind of fell off. But I'm expecting a rebound because he's just a really, really good talent. So you can't really take a defensive end here because you picked one last year in the first round with Tack. Then you have Vic Beasley. So I think defensive tackle is the obvious pick here because it's the most glaring hole. And from what I'm hearing, Taven Bryan's a little raw. I didn't watch much of him at all, but from everything I read, he's a raw prospect with a lot of upside. Anybody who's watching this who watched him at Florida, please let me know in the comments what you think of him, if you think he's a really good first-round talent or if he's a second-round talent. So that's it for the Falcons. Let's move on. So at pick 27, I have the Saints selecting Mike Gesicki, tight end out of Penn State. And this could be a little bit of a reach. I mean, he's projected as a second-round talent. But the Saints just hit on so many picks last year. I mean, they hit on Marcus Williams. They hit on Ramczyk. They hit on Kamara. So many spots were filled last year with young talent. Oh, Lattimore, too. Forgot about Lattimore. I mean, they don't have many holes. I mean, just like any other team at the bottom of the first, the better teams in the league, they have the flexibility to really go with the tight end here. And Gesicki, he's not going to be like Gronk. I mean, he's not going to be a two-way tight end who can block just as well as he can catch touchdowns. But he's going to be very good at running routes and catching touchdowns. I mean, he's going to be a new toy for Drew Brees. He showed out at the Combine, ran like a 4.5, which is really, really good. Linebackers will not keep up with him. He's going to be like Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham can't block very well. But obviously you knew what happened when he was there with New Orleans. He was at the pinnacle of his career. So I think Gesicki has that kind of upside, Jimmy Graham type. And they have the flexibility to do so. So we're going to have Mike Gesicki here at 27. At pick 28, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars selecting wide receiver DJ Moore out of Maryland. And he has the potential to be the best wide receiver in this draft class. Now, he is graded out as a second or third rounder, so first could be a slight reach. But he just has a higher ceiling because of his side and speed combination. And he's very fluid. He has pretty good hands. They brought in Dante Moncrief to fill the hole of Allen Robinson. Allen Hurns is also gone. But, Dante Moncrief, he's just not really that good. He's never lived up to the hype. He is another wide receiver who had really good measurables and size, but he just hasn't panned out. But he's on a new team now. We'll see how that works out. But DJ Moore, he just has a higher ceiling than Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley is a more finished product, can run the full route tree. But DJ Moore definitely has the upside, so I think that's who they go with here. So at pick 29, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers taking cornerback Josh Jackson out of Iowa. His draft stock has really taken a hit ever since the Combine because he ran a little slower than people anticipated. He can potentially get burned in man coverage. Not really an island kind of guy, but he could be a very good zone corner who, he could definitely get a lot of picks as a rookie. I'm very confident in that. He had the highest grade as a Pro Football Focus corner from college last year, even higher than Denzel Ward. I just think people are slightly worried about his speed, but we know how that worked out with Richard Sherman. It's all about game speed. It's not always about your 40 time. But I think that he's a good fit here with the Steelers, considering their scheme. I could see them taking a linebacker here, especially if Leighton Vander Esch falls all the way down here. Already have him going to the Rams at 23, which might be a little high, but I could definitely see them taking a linebacker here. Other than that, their team is pretty solid. They could probably use another edge rusher, but I do have them taking cornerback Josh Jackson. At pick number 30, I have the Minnesota Vikings selecting Jamarco Jones, offensive tackle out of Ohio State. And I think this one's pretty straightforward. The Vikings do not have many holes at all. I think this is their Super Bowl window. Their weakness is their offensive line, and they need to take a tackle to protect Kirk Cousins. I know a rookie isn't ideal to protect your new franchise quarterback, but you don't have much of a choice here. There wasn't much of a free agency market for one outside of Nate Solder maybe. They already spent a lot of money on Kirk Cousins, and Nate Solder is now the most expensive offensive tackle, if not offensive lineman in the entire league. That would have been a lot of money to spend on two people. So taking a top-end talent in Jamarco Jones should definitely help out within the next few years and try to capitalize on this Super Bowl window. At pick 31, I have the New England Patriots selecting Sam Hubbard, outside linebacker, defensive end, out of Ohio State. I think he's an excellent fit here because I know exactly what our team needs. And he's going to provide a lot of flexibility. Now, I don't think he's going to transform the pass rush in any way, shape, or form, because he won't even be one of the top 2 pass rushers on the team. That's going to be Trey Flowers as well as Adrian Claiborne. But he's a very solid third guy, and he's also going to allow Trey Flowers to kick inside, which is where he's most effective. So Sam Hubbard is that guy who he can do everything. He's the Bill Belichick kind of player because he can rush the passer, he can drop into coverage, he can line up pretty much anywhere. So he's just a very solid, flexible player, and that's exactly what Bill covets. And he's got great size, by the way, 6'5", 265 pounds, and then he's very, very fluid. So I think he fits the system very, very nicely, and I think that is a pick here at 31. And with the final pick of the first round, the reigning champion Philadelphia Eagles select Isaiah Oliver, cornerback out of Colorado. I haven't watched much film on him. I've seen highlight videos, and I've seen grades and all that kind of stuff on him. He's kind of like a second-round talent, but he's the next best corner on my board. So it only makes sense that the team who doesn't have many weaknesses except for at corner takes a corner here. Very similar to how the Falcons had an obvious weakness at defensive tackle after Grady Jarrett. Very similar weakness here with the Eagles. They got lit up in the Super Bowl. Yes, they won the game, but to me, it's mainly because their offense did a fantastic job. But that secondary got carved up, and that's obviously their weakness on a very talented team. So Isaiah Oliver should fill in nicely. They lost Patrick Robinson, who was their best cover corner. I think he's over 30 now. He's now with the Saints, and they have to replace that production somehow. Now, I'm not saying play Oliver in the slot because I'm not sure if he's even best utilized in the slot. I just know they need to replace their production. So Isaiah Oliver to the Eagles. So that's it for the mock draft, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Definitely let me know what you guys think in the comments. I know there's going to be some people who hate my picks, might be some people who love them. I want to hear if you guys have certain prospects that did not make it into the first round that you think are first rounders. Just let me know all of that in the comment section. I might be doing a 2.0 maybe a week beforehand, a week before the draft, because there might be some trades and stuff that go down before then. But for now, this is my mock draft. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you guys later.